With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond is a podcast that gives everyone and anyone a place to come and keep it real about their cancer experience. Welcome to Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond.
Hey everyone, we are back. I feel like I say that every week, and I do, because this is a weekly podcast. Welcome back. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Chris Donovan, the co-host and producer of the show here with Carrie Madrid of thecareprojectinc.org. Now, in this conversation, Carrie got to sit down with this amazing person named Blaise Harris. Now, I have to talk really slow here because he's an LCMHA, which is a licensed clinical mental health counselor associate, and he's an LCASA, wait for it, licensed clinical addiction specialist serving in the Raleigh area. Did you get all that? Well, on top of all those letters, he's been a firefighter for 14 years, and he is a fixture in the fire and life safety education world. Now, after going through his own problems with depression, divorce, and grief, Blaise has learned a different perspective on how he does his therapy, and he goes over all that in the show. To reach him on Instagram or TikTok, you can go at BLAIZO909. And while you do that, enjoy this conversation between Carrie Madrid and Blaise Harris.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond. We are talking to another new TikTok friend. I say that because I stumbled on his account on TikTok and I saw that he was a therapist. And because mental health is so important to us here, and men's health in particular is also a topic that we try to touch often, not only relative to breast cancer, because again, 1 in 8 women, we all know, but 1 in 833 men are diagnosed. And mental health is something that affects a lot of cancer patients, a lot of people that deal with cancer patients and their kids, and so on and so forth. If you know somebody diagnosed with cancer or any traumatic injury or disease, mental health is important. So I wanted to have him on. I'm going to let him introduce himself because he has such an extensive background. Give it all to us. Welcome, Blaise.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Hey, everybody. My name is Blaise Harris. I am, so I got to give you the word jargon for my new title.
Right.
I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor associate and also a licensed clinical addiction specialist associate. And I'm based out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Nice.
So
listen, that was all those alphabets behind your name. I was
yes.
He's going to have to break this down.
Yeah. I wish I didn't have to. It used to be so simple. It used to be licensed professional counselor and that was it. But now, it's expanded. So I gotta give all of it. But before I became a counselor, I was a firefighter for 14 years. I was in the city of Raleigh for 11 years, where I was a senior firefighter, which I got to drive the truck and get to ride in the back. So all the fun without the responsibility. So fun. And for my last 3 years, I was a fire and life safety educator for a small town called Rocky Mount Fire Department. And what I did there was educate the public about what to do when it comes to fire safety. And I really enjoyed being a part of the fire service, especially the education portion, because I got to showcase some of my talents that you may have seen on TikTok as far as, rapping and I'm not a rapper, but using music to put my message out, to help people out, make people, because it's an attention grabber.
Absolutely.
And because of that, we actually won a nationwide contest back in 2019, a video contest because of a song that I wrote.
Nice.
And we did a video, and it won the top spot. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, music is a thing, right? Music is a thing.
Yeah.
Not only is it an attention grabber, but it unites everybody. I mean, even if it isn't your genre of choice or your go-to right away, if it's got a catch somehow, it grabs you. And that's why jingles work on commercials, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So the education portion of it, that really drew you in, though.
It did. I was a teacher before I even joined the fire service. So I think I do okay in the classroom. I pretty much thrive in there. I love interacting with people. I love teaching people new things and coaching people and just being there with people, which, I mean, and I think with that, therapy became just like a natural transition for me because I'm working with people one-on-one all day long through some of their worst things, you know, and it was a difficult jump from firefighting to.
I was going to say, wait a minute, back it up, sir. Back
Yeah.
it up. So first of all, thank you for your service, because firefighters, oh my God, my hat's off to you. You know, I live in Southern California.
Oh yeah.
Need I say more about wildfires?
No, yeah, that's a different breed of firefighter out there. I'm telling you. So.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but much respect. So how did you, like, what tapped you on the back of your shoulder? As I always say, I get these big, bright ideas, right? And I feel somebody tapping on the back of my shoulder and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not doing that. Well, who am I to do that? Right. And then I get smacked upside the back of the head with, didn't I tell you to go do that thing? And I'm like, come on, who am I? And then I go, all right, fine, I'll do it. Right. How did that come about for you?
To do the firefighting or the therapy?
No, to get into mental health.
So, okay. So, wow. So the biggest part was, no, let's be real.
Yeah.
Divorce, going through a divorce.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing for me. When I went through my divorce, it broke me down. I literally hit rock bottom. And it was to a point where, I mean, I didn't really think mental health was the thing. I didn't think depression was the thing. I didn't think that. And, you know, I just thought it was something. So to be honest with you, as a Black male, I didn't think Black people got depressed.
Right.
I figured that was just something that, you know, that white people dealt with. They go to therapy. Black folks don't do that.
Right.
You know, and as a firefighter, the culture, being a first responder in general, our culture is we're not allowed to show our feelings. We're not supposed to show any weakness. We're not supposed to be, you know, dealing with sadness, because 5 minutes, we might be dealing with something worse down the road.
Right. So so first of all, the thing that hits me number one is, first of all, you're a man. Okay. Let me say that as a woman that has 3 brothers. So there's that right there. That means I'm a man. I can't show weakness. I must be strong, keep my poker face, right? You're a Black man, which I've been married to 2. So I know how that goes. That's a cultural thing that extends the fact that you're a man, but you're a Black man. You've got to be strong. You've got to keep it together, right? Then you're a first responder. There's that. I mean, the list goes on. Then you're a dad.
Yep.
You're a husband.
Yeah.
So all those things condition you to the default thinking of you have to be strong.
Right. And that was the thing that was going through my mind. I got to stay strong. I got to be this. I have to do this. People are counting on me. But the reality was I couldn't.
The reality is you're human.
Yeah. I really couldn't. I'm definitely human. And that really showed it to me. And so as far as depression goes, I was extremely sad. Like, I'm normally the happy-go-lucky type guy. Everybody makes sure everybody else is okay. Laughing and smiling. My smile was gone. You know, my mood was always low. I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't want to go anywhere. Like, my house is my sanctuary. And, you know, I found every excuse that I could to not get out of the house.
Yeah.
I was suicidal and actually had 2 attempts. And that was when I was like, okay, something's got to change. I got to do something about this, because this is not me. And, you know, it was then I was like, the first attempt, I was just like, okay, I got to get some help. I got to get some help. And so.
Did anybody else know about that attempt?
Not till I told them.
Okay.
So that's the thing. So when I did it, I called my grandma, I called my cousin. and I couldn't call my mom because she was doing a tour at the time. So I called my grandma, I called my cousin, and I called, the kid's mom, and let them know what the deal was. And what happened was, when I did that attempt, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to call. Didn't know where to go. So, but we had a very popular psychiatric facility here in North Carolina. And what I did was I called them and I admitted myself because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
So I admitted myself. I was there for a good 5 days. But the thing about it is, I told you, I didn't know what to do about therapy. This is nothing that I really experienced. So only thing I knew was what I seen on TV. I admit myself, I'm thinking, that movie 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
And everybody, jumping up and down on beds and straight jackets and all of this stuff. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go into this place and I'm going to, they're going to put me in a straight jacket in a padded room the whole time. Right. And for me, it wasn't like that. And I walked in and I saw people who looked like me. Right. I saw different colors, different races, different shapes, different sizes, different ages. And everybody was dealing with their stuff. And everybody was dealing with it in their own way. I saw rich, poor, and people who seemingly you would think would have it together, and people who would seemingly seem like they were happy, had a good life and all of this stuff. And we were all in the same spot, all on the bottom, looking up, trying to get out.
That speaks volumes. That is really, something just for our listeners to really take in. Depression. I'm going to mention breast cancer because this is my trauma in my life. Mm-hmm. And it's just like what I say about breast cancer. It doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have a race. It doesn't have an economic bracket, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with mental health. Mm-hmm. Depression, suicidal thoughts, all of that.
Nope, it does not care. Does not care. It's like, you have $1 billion? let me let you know that you ain't shit. I'm out. You ain't stuff.
Right. So, no. Yeah, you're speaking my language. Yeah, no, it's true. So, so you were there for about 5 days. And what did they do for you? Did they just sort of get you back stable? But how do they do that?
So the thing about it, the first night there, they didn't have a bed, so I had to sleep on the floor. Well, I'm used to that. I grew up kind of that way. So I went in the next day, I went to the psychiatrist. Psychiatrist sitting there and said, hey, what's going on? And I showed him, I cut my wrist. I showed him my wrist. Okay. And he was like, okay. So you suicidal? Yeah. Said, feeling sad? Yeah, I'm sad. You want to do anything? You want to go anywhere? No, I don't. I'm always sad. I don't eat. I don't sleep. I don't do any of those things. How long is it going on? About 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah, major depressive disorder. Okay. What's that?
Right.
What's that mean?
Okay. And what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. And it was just like, what they did was he told me what's going on. He told me what depressive disorder was. He said, you're just excessive sadness. Sometimes you're irritable, not eating, not sleeping, suicidal thoughts, not wanting to do things. And it's about in the span of 2 weeks, and it's constant for this 2 weeks. This is how it's been going. So he gave me the diagnosis. They started giving me meds to try to help with it. And I didn't know any different. So I started taking them, and, because I needed something to help me get over the hump.
Right. Absolutely.
And then we started doing groups, and I'm sitting there with all these strangers who I don't know any of them from Adam. And so they're sitting there and start telling this story, and they get to me and I break down crying. And I break down crying because I'm finally around people who actually understand what I'm going through and who were going through similar things, and they weren't judging me for it. And they were actually listening to what I had to say. And that's how it happened. We started doing groups and started doing a lot of reflecting, a lot of journaling. There was a lot of journaling for me going on, a lot of mindfulness exercises, a lot of let's look at all of this stuff. Let's break it down. Let's detach from the world for right now and just focus on you. And that's what I did. And that's what they were teaching me to do. But what's really weird? People started coming to me and talking to me about their problems while I was in there.
Yeah, well, you have an energy.
Apparently so.
You do. You have an energy of openness, not only about your own feelings and your own life, and like even today when we emailed before I came to the studio and you said, do I need to dress up? No, come on. I mean, look, you see, I didn't do my hair, but I mean, you have an energy about you. The same thing is said to me about when I mentor other cancer patients, because there is something powerful in what you just said, is that when you were in group and you sat there and you were with these people, you were able to be vulnerable and you were able to open up and break down. And that's exactly what happens here at the Care Project when we have our social club. So we don't have a support group, because in my mind, all I saw, like you, was shit on TV. And I was like, okay, we're not old 60-year-old white women that are just going to sit around and cry, right? We range from our 20s to our 70s. We are vibrant. We are outgoing. We cuss a little. Like we need a safe space to be able to do that. And so I created a Survivor Social Club. So we get together once a month. And that's exactly the vibe that I got from what you just described, because I, as strong as I am, it's the only place that there are times when I come in here and they look at me as their leader and I'm like, no, I'm just one of you. I am you, you are me. Let's say it together, right? Like I am you, you are me. And this is my place too. But it's even hard for me then, because, you know, now I'm the leader, but I get what you're saying. And it's very important that you get yourself around others that have either been there, done that, or are in it, so that you can, would you say, or is that not such a good thing?
I think, like for me, and I think it's different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. Now, some people are going to do better doing stuff on their own. Some people don't want to be around other people.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is, the biggest thing about depression is a lot of times we don't ask for help because we don't want to seem like we're a burden. We don't want to seem like, you know, we're bothering you. We don't want to be an inconvenience for anyone. We don't want to put any kind of stress on other people and make them, because if we do that, in our minds, we're making you feel like we're feeling it. We don't want anybody to feel this way.
Woo, wait a minute. I'm having a moment. I got my tissue box right here. You know why? Because here's the thing. And again, I'm only relating my own experience as a cancer patient, right? We already feel like a burden to our family and friends. And in my case, I was divorced by that point. And so I had 2 teenagers and one off in the Air Force. And I was, in my mind, a burden to them, because here's my teenagers trying to help take care of me because I didn't have anybody else.
Right.
Hence why I started the Care Project. So no one has to deal with that. But I say all that to say, I get through all my treatment. And now what happens with me and a million other cancer patients is you get through the thick of it, just like you getting stable, right? You get through the thick of it. And then what happened for me and several others is that active treatment is done. You're recovered, so to speak, physically, but now you're not in work mode. You're not in go to this appointment, that appointment, this therapy, that, whatever, right? And now you're home and you're like, whew, holy shit, what did I just go through? And oh my God, I almost just died. And I did have a near-death experience with a crazy infection. And so the totality of everything I had just been through wiped me out.
Right.
But now I don't want to talk about it, because guess what? Everybody around me is going, yay, you're done. You whooped cancer's ass. And I'm going, yeah, no. And they're like, aren't you so happy? And they don't get it. One of my TikTok videos, the one that I think has the most views and like over 80 shares, was I talked about that. You know, like if you know someone that's been through treatment and you think, oh my gosh, what are they depressed about? What are they in a funk about? They should be so happy they lived through it. And it's like, oh, honey, no. Now the journey to healing just begins. And everybody leaves you. Right. And everybody leaves because they think, oh, she's good now.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
But we don't want to be a burden.
No.
Right.
So the thing that it pisses me off is like when you're dealing with depression or any kind of trauma, right? Oh, call me if you need me. Bitch ain't gonna call you.
I say that on my show every episode. I say that. Don't freaking say that to me. I'm not calling you.
That's not, depressed people don't reach out to people. If we reached out to people, then we wouldn't be damn depressed.
Right. That part.
So and that's the thing, is like you got to know your people.
You got to check on them.
I stress this all the time. It's like, look, check on your people. Check on your people. A depressed person, somebody's going through their stuff, they're not going to reach out to you, because they don't want to seem like they're a burden. They already feel like shit for feeling the way that they feel and making you worried, or you're having you concerned about them, they're not going to reach out and say, hey, I'm having a really tough time.
Right.
Can you help me? No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
You're going to have to be like, hey, do you need anything? Do you need anything? What can I do? And it's like, it's like, it gets to a point where like, I'm an empath. So I know when my people are off. I feel it off in the world somewhere. And I was like, what the hell is going on? So I do regular check-ins on my folks. And it's like, yo, you okay? Is everything good? What do you need? I'm here. I want to, do you want to go? Let's go grab a drink. Let's go get some food. Let's go do something.
Yeah.
It's like, let me get you out of the house just for a minute.
I do. I can feel it. My friend Jamal can attest to this. One of my massage therapy friends, I was in a drive-through picking up a salad on my way home from work, and I'm driving. I'm not on my phone, right? But I'm in the drive-through and I'm just have this overwhelming feeling. And one of my best friends that I've known forever since I was in the 8th grade is a licensed clinical social worker. We've talked about this before. And I've always said to her, Rachel, sometimes I get these feelings like I just know something's not right. She's like, you need to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
She's like, don't text them, pick up the phone and call them. So I literally picked up the phone and called him in the drive-through. And I said, as soon as he answered, I said, what's going on? What did you do? What kind of trouble are you in? Like, what's happening? He said, oh my God, Madrid, don't be reading my mind. And I was like, he's like, how do you know? I was like, I don't know, but I just know. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So I go, I'm gonna try to bring it back to fire service and how I got
okay.
here,
We
right?
can talk forever.
So the thing about it is like, so I'm going through all of this stuff. I'm going through this stuff basically alone, right? So I get out, I go home, I get my kids and everything. And I started thinking, I was like, yo, if I went through like this and I'm supposed to be the happy-go-lucky guy, how many other firefighters deal with this stuff and keep it to themselves? Like, shit. Right. So right then I was like, you know what? Everybody always told me I should be a counselor. I do pretty good at talking to people. Everybody always come and talk to me about their feelings anyway. I might as well get paid for it. And if I want to do this, I'm going to be a counselor for first responders, because I know we're not going to just talk to anybody.
Right.
We don't want to have to counsel a counselor. I don't want to have to tell you. It's like, we don't want to have to tell you everything that we experience and have you break down from us telling you the story that we're going through, because that's happened. How am I supposed to tell you that, I had one guy tell me about how they carried a burned up kid outside and how they had to deal with that and how to, and the counselor's breaking down crying.
Right.
So stuff like that. I wanted to be a therapist for first responders.
Because you've been there, done that. It's just like me talking to other breast cancer patients, right? I've been there, done that. So you don't have to give me all that. I got it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I know the lingo. I know what you're holding back. I know what you are dealing with. I know that you don't want to deal with it. I know why you don't want to deal with it. But I'm here to tell you, it ain't good for you the way that you're dealing with it. The way that you're dealing with it, like when people think about depression, the first thing to think about is being sad. But one of the issues that a lot of people don't realize is that depression shows up as anger in a lot of men. And I talk to my first responders, like, how many angry firefighters you know? I was like, damn, I know a lot. So, yeah. And so not just that though, it's just like, how many firefighters you know been married, 3-4 times?
And that bleeds into law enforcement as well.
Yep, all of that stuff. And that's the thing. So it's just like, because we're taught to keep work at work, home at home,
compartmentalize.
But how realistic is that?
Right.
You have somebody, say you're going through a divorce. You have somebody in your family who is dealing with cancer. You have somebody in your family, you lost a family member. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to just stop when you go through the door at work.
Right.
No. Or you have let's say you had 3 codes in a shift, back to back to back. 2 of the people talking to you, and then all of them end up dying. You're supposed to just leave that at work?
Right. And wouldn't you say that what I found personally for me is I didn't even realize I was depressed. And I have a lot of clients and patients that come through these doors that talk about that in our monthly socials. And they'll say, I don't really know. Like right now, I'm just feeling angry, or I'm feeling like I just don't want to, I'm in a funk, and my friends want to go out and celebrate, and I don't want to be bothered. And I'm like, okay, well, odds are you are in a depression. I mean, we've all been there, and almost everybody who had been quiet, there might have been 12 people in that room were like, yeah, that was me too.
Yep.
And it's always the after. Because we're in fight or flight when we're in dealing with, you're given a diagnosis or you're given a situation and you go into fight or flight and you survive it and you get through. And then it's like, whew, and now it's the fallout.
Yep.
Right? So I think a lot of people don't even realize they're depressed. Right. And again, like you said, that diagnosis or that word even just makes the hairs on the back of everybody's neck stand up, but especially men, I would think.
Yep, exactly.
Or those of us women who have had to be strong single moms and, you know, you have a lot of shit you've dealt with. Let me just keep it real. I've dealt with a lot of shit in my life.
Exactly.
And so having cancer at age 40 was just like, seriously? All right, bitch, let's go. One more thing. I got this. But then I finished it and it was like, oh, damn. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize they are in a clinically depressed state.
Yeah. I mean, then why would they admit it? Because that in their minds, in our minds, oh, you're weak. You can't handle it. You're not built for this.
Right. What did it take for you to become a counselor? Had you gone to college before and gotten degrees?
Yeah. So I got my undergrad in 2002.
Okay.
And I went to grad school in 2016. I was like, holy shit.
That's nice. One of my survivors right now, she's actually a metastatic thriver. Her cancer is in her bones and liver, and she is finishing right now her master's in social work. Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah. Good for her. No, for me, it took 3 years because I was working full time. I had 2 jobs and a single dad. And it was a lot. And I was trying to, going through a divorce at the time. It's like I needed to make money. So I was, went into massive amounts of debt because so much stuff trying to live, trying to do everything I had to do. But I did my 3 years. My last year officially doing like internships. And that was the scariest part because I didn't think I was going to be able to get one. And then my current supervisor took a chance on me because she was a part of the police force. Well, she was a dispatcher, I believe. In telecommunications. So she understood what it was like. Yeah. She's like, oh, this is a unicorn right here. This is a Black dude who's going into therapy. Let me take him under my wing and help, let's see if we can help him.
Reach so many people. You are reaching so many people.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Even just on TikTok, I mean, you are reaching so many people. I mean, and then to have, there's something very powerful in walking into a space for any kind of support and having somebody on the other end of that looks like you, that thinks like you. There is something so powerful in that. Even when patients would come here to the Care Project thinking, I'm just going to help them pay their electric bill or whatever, right? But they would sit down and I talk to them and they would say something about, some side effect. And I'd say, oh yeah, I remember. And that, and they stop and the tears just start flowing. I'm like, what'd I say? And they're like, you're a survivor. And I'm like, yeah. And it's just like a whole, it's like a shell fell off of them because they're like, oh, okay. So you get it. Yeah, I get it. Right. I get it. And there's something so powerful in what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have no idea. So I told you in the beginning, I initially came into this field because I wanted to be a therapist for first responders. But then the more I started doing it, I was like, yo, just like you said, the power in having somebody who looks like you as a therapist. Yeah. Now, let's keep it real. I know that just based on my appearance, I can be a trigger for everybody, but the amount of brothers that I had come in and just talk to me, I had one dude tell me, my first year of therapy, it was straight telehealth.
Okay.
No in session because, became a therapist right when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so I was, people had never seen me face to face. The dude got on, he said, I saw you pop on the screen. He was like, oh, well, thank you, Jesus. It's a blessing. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that I have so many dudes so many black males who come to me and they're like, yo, I want to be my therapist. This is great. Not just black males, though. I have a lot of white males come to me and just feel comfortable talking to me. And, and just like, it's the majority of my clients are males. And I am proud of that fact, that I have helped people feel better talking about mental health and be comfortable talking about mental health.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the best parts of me. That's one of the most rewarding parts. Now, the thing that sucks is once they get started, what's unfortunate is a lot of them don't come back. Yeah. And, a lot of that is because it's unaffordable. With insurance, it's like insurance could be a bitch.
Yeah.
It really can. It's just like, yo, these people are really trying to get help. And
or they limit, even if you have coverage, they might limit you. Okay, you get 5 sessions. Yes. Okay, yeah. Well,
how are you gonna do in 5 sessions?
Right.
No, it's but then you got to think that's also the mentality of a lot of people. Oh, we're gonna be done in like 2 sessions. I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this is a lifelong management thing. Yes. Say? In some way, shape, or form. You may not go to active therapy your whole life, but you're gonna go for a while until you gain the skills and the management, right?
Yep. And that's the thing. People got to learn those skills and those management. You got to get to that point. It's just, I tell people, it's just like, just how you take your car. You get his oil change, the fluids, all of that stuff. That's what therapy is, maintenance. And not just when you're feeling bad. You can even go to therapy when you're feeling good. And just to keep yourself on the same path. To keep yourself on track with what it comes on. It's kind of like, this is your, I had one client tell me, he said, I have a baseline now. I know if I get to this point, something needs to change. I don't want to get back to this point again. This is where I want to be, where I'm feeling right now. So I want to stay there. But if I feel like I'm getting down to this baseline right here, it's like, nah, so we got to do something about it. And he's an advocate. He's starting to be an advocate for the folks that he works with. He actually said, he said, I have a guy and I told him about you and he wants to meet with you and work with you and figure out if this is the best thing for him to do. I was like, send him my way.
Yeah. So are you doing this full time now?
Yes.
You are?
Yes. I might have to shake it on the weekends to make ends meet, but I'm doing it.
Well, listen, you mentioned you had 2 suicide attempts.
Yes.
So after the first one was, when you went and checked yourself in, that was the first time?
Yes. Well, technically that was the second time. The first time I was 17.
Okay.
And nobody there. I never told anybody about that one. Not many. Only person who knew about that one was my cousin who was there when I did it.
Okay.
So my second one was like for real was me cutting my wrist. Now,
right.
When I had my first my second attempt, going through there, it was, let's say, August. So I admitted myself in September. Now, what comes up during the wintertime, and I was going through a divorce. Thanksgiving and Christmas.
The holidays are the worst.
Big ass house.
Yeah.
By myself.
Yeah.
Nobody here. First time. And that was my second attempt.
Yeah.
And
what do you think? I'm sorry. Yeah. What do you think, going back to when you were 17, the mom in me, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah.
And I have dealt with plenty of kids in my life at the high school where I was a booster president for the basketball program for 5 years. And so I became a second mom to a lot of kids. And I watched a lot of them go through a lot of stuff and my own.
Right.
So looking back now, knowing everything that you know now, what do you think caused you to get to that point at 17? Oh,
I was super depressed back then. And the thing about it was my math was impeccable. I was probably the most popular kid in school. One, if I wasn't the popular, I was like the second in school. Everybody loved me. Teachers had all these expectations of me. I was great. I could talk with anybody. I would make everybody always feel good. I was the good guy. I was the leader. Everybody came to me for stuff. I would break up fights. I would mend fences for people. I was a peacemaker. I was all things for all people. But I was so lonely. Yeah. I could never get the girl that I wanted. They always wanted the other guys and all of that stuff. And my grandma would constantly pressure me to do well. I thought that if I didn't come home with a B or A, I was going to get in trouble. Teachers always had a high expectations of me. Coaches had high expectations of me.
There's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure on me. And I just, I didn't want to let anybody down. And I was so lonely. Like nobody really understood me. Nobody really, listened to me because they thought I had it all together.
That's often how it is.
Yeah.
That's often how it is. I mean, it's just, there's so much I could say to that. I'm just going to relate it to present day. Look, on social media, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you'll know I have a ton of friends and I help a lot of people through my nonprofit and I know a lot of people. But at the end of the day, after I've done everything I do for everybody else, I go home to my dog.
Yeah.
I go home to my dog and that's it because I have some really great friends and they're all cancer survivors because now my whole world, cancer has a way of flushing people out of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every cancer patient I know will say, man, the people I thought that were going to be there are gone. But man, look at these people. So I have all these survivor friends that are family now. Some of them are closer to me than my own family. And so I cherish them. But at the end of the day, I go home alone. And so I have some really good friends. One in particular, Gina, will text me late at night and she'll say, hey, Mrs. Magoo, because I'm blind in one eye. She's like, can you see, do you have your contact in? I'm like, no, I don't have it in. She's like, I'm just checking on you. And I'm like, I'm okay. And I'm like, thanks, Gina. She's like, I know you're always Miss Badass, strong for everybody else. I'm the fixer. I have one assistant here at the Care Project who was one of my first clients. She's sweet as pie, DJ. And she now screens all the patients, so I don't have to do that because she's like warm and squishy and she oozes love and mija, let me and I'm like, okay, what's the problem? Like, what do you need? Like, your electric bill's overdue. I got you. Okay, you need this. I got you. I am a fixer.
Yeah,
I am a fixer because I have been a survivor for so many years in my life, and that's what I shine at.
Yep.
But what I realize is in doing so, I don't take care of myself.
Yep.
I've been working on that. You keep me inspired. I watch you dance around. I dance around all the time for my exercise. I do go to Pilates now, but I mean, this is going to be a two-parter, but the thing is like, I get that. And so I say all that and I'm 50 now, but when I was 17,
no, you're not.
I am. I turned 50 January 5th.
Girl, you better do it, girl. You better do that.
I'm tired.
41 January 17.
Nice.
Yeah.
Capricorn?
Capricorn, baby. Capricorn.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what that feels like at 17. And actually I kind of know because I was pregnant with my son at 17. So my son is 32. And so as a senior in high school, I had my son. And of course, all my friends are at prom and I'm dancing around in my living room with my son, so, but I get that, but I can, so it sounds like this has been a history, obviously, in your life. So from teenagehood, then you get married, you have kids, that doesn't end well. So now that sends you into this. So how are you doing today?
I'm pretty damn good, actually. I made a post the other day. And people have been asking me, usually I give the same bullshit answer. Man, I'm good. And it's just like, it's like, that's cold for, I'm all right, but I'm not, but I ain't gonna tell you. So like, but honestly, I've been doing pretty good. I've been rereading like some books. Like I love You're a Badass by Jen Cicero. I love that book.
By who?
So Jen Cicero.
Okay. You're a Badass. That's what it's called.
Yep. You're a Badass. Yes.
Okay.
And I read that.
I would read it just for that title.
Yes. It's a quick and easy read.
Okay.
And I read that, right after my separation, like 5 years ago, and I'm rereading it again now. And it's just like, yo, I should have been doing all these things the whole time. And, like you, I'm a fixer. I'm a rescuer. I mean, look at my jobs. Look at, and then you got to think about it. That's what a lot of first responders are. We're rescuers. That's what we do. I mean, that's in our job description.
Yeah.
And so, I was sitting there and I was rereading this book and I was like, it was telling me all these things. It's like, yo, Blaise, look out for you. Don't try to, it's like I was reading something today and it was saying, you can look out for you and not try to make everybody else happy. And I was like, that's so true.
Yeah. You had to like say it again, right?
Yeah. And I'm sitting there, it's like, I can do that. I can. I really can.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and that's what I've been doing. It's just like, I was in a relationship for about 5 months. First time I really felt comfortable dating somebody in 6 years. And it ended. And I was in a bad spot because I really care for this woman. Still do, still love her, always will.
Yeah.
But the thing about it was just like, it was a lot of things with that that I kind of had to let go of. And I knew I needed to let go of, but I didn't want to hurt her.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, it's just like, and that's the thing, is just I didn't want her to feel bad as I was feeling. And so I was trying to take the blame for everything. And I was like, So, and it's just like,
Are you reading my mind? I want you to read my mind right now, because I don't want to say it on there.
No, I'm sitting there, it's just like, you ain't gonna do that. I do the same shit.
Yeah.
so quit calling me out right now, Blaise.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm like, why are you talking about me right now?
Why are you talking about me right now? So I mean, but that's the thing. But I was reading that, and I've been doing all these things. It's just like, I have been so motivated and dedicated to getting and doing these things that I want to do and accomplish. And I've been in a really good space. And, just like, even like talking to you, it's like, you know me from anybody. You saw me on TikTok. And the fact that you actually saw my story and thought it was good enough to put on your podcast is just like, okay.
You know what? We all have stuff we can relate to.
Right.
We all have stuff we can relate to. And there might be someone that listens to this episode that maybe is a breast cancer survivor, and they've been listening to other shows relative to that. And they're going to hear this, and whatever it's going to resonate. We all suffer with sadness, depression, anxiety, fear, all these things. I mean, it's real, and it crosses all boundaries, like we said. I mean, so do you find now that you are practicing and you're helping others, are you, and keep it real, are you taking care of yourself first? Are you doing the things now that you're telling others to do?
Yes.
Good.
Before I was not.
Okay.
Before, it was sometimes where, it got bad. Like when my brother died. My brother died in February.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I took so many steps backwards, and I wasn't like, I wanted to grieve, but I knew I was so used to just throwing myself into work so I wouldn't have to, because I'm used to taking care of everybody, doing everything.
Oh my God. We're going to have a whole series. We could have our own show.
Yeah. So used to taking everybody. But the thing about it was I started taking time. I started doing stuff that I needed to. And my mom gave me a lot of his clothes, and he was way smaller than me, but he always wore bigger clothes. I was like, "Ooh, I ain't better fit in this." And I was like, "Oh yeah, he got 2 XLs. Like, I can wear this." And so, I mean,
but do you find I mean, there's always going to be triggers, and I hate to use that term because it's so overused, I think, but losing your brother, obviously that's going to hit you hard no matter what. Just like every time I lose a friend, because all my friends are cancer patients.
Yeah.
And so many of us, our cancer returns, and then they pass away, and I'm still here, and I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Why am I still here? Right? It's a horrible. We should do a show on just that. Yeah. Let me ask you a couple questions that Chris had, since he can't be here.
Yeah.
So one of them, he asked if you could give one bit of advice to someone going through a hard time mentally, like day to day, someone who's really struggling day to day. What's your best bit of advice for them to do?
First off, is you need to know that you aren't a burden. There are people who care about you tremendously. There are people who will do anything that you ask them to do. They will be there for you. They will love on you. They will support you. Keep them going. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. You don't have to be happy-go-lucky all the damn time. You're human.
Right.
So if it's something, if you're going through it and it's really tough for you to do, one of the biggest things that I try to tell people to do is find an outlet, whether it be you just going outside and walking barefoot in the grass and feeling the grass up under your feet, or up under in the sand, or doing anything like that. Sometimes it's going out and yelling and getting everything out that you need to. I have a heavy bag, and I beat the pure tea shit out of that thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've cried punching and kicking doing that. For some people, it's such a release. Yes. For some people, it might be poetry. painting, writing.
For me, it's
going
music.
for a walk, run. Yes.
For me, it's music.
So, yes. Find that thing that helps you get that pain, that anger, that hurt, that sadness, that grief out. Use it.
Yeah.
Don't let that control you, because it doesn't control you. Find an outlet that benefits you to do that. It could be even going fishing.
Do you think it's important to set, I don't want to use the word routine, but like, I think in this question, we're talking about someone who's really struggling on a day-to-day, like it's a consistent struggle, right? So do you think it's important to implement a routine or a habit, if you will, like a meditation practice, or like you said, hitting the bag or taking that walk? Like,
right. So it depends on the person. It's like, if it was a one size fit all, then somebody would be rich as hell.
Right.
And that's the thing. So, but sometimes we need the schedule times to do it. When you're in that moment, when you're dealing with a day-to-day, you're not thinking about what you need to do. Because you just want to sit in that darkness. You want to just like cover up. You don't want to do anything. Sometimes you forget to eat. Yeah. So it's okay. In those times, I think it's okay I would suggest people to set timers. Hey, go do this. Hey, go do that. And it's like, sometimes you don't want to, sometimes like taking a bath is going to be stressful. Sometimes getting up is going to be stressful. Sometimes, brushing your teeth is going to be stressful. It's going to be difficult because that sadness is there. It's so present.
I had a day last week. Was it last week? It was this week. It was this week.
Must have been a great day.
I had a day this week. No, a week, a day. I had a bad day. In that I woke up, but I didn't even realize I was having it till probably about 3, but I woke up early and I shuffled down the hallway and started coffee and went in my little office, started work about 6:30, and I'm in my pajamas, and I worked until 4:30. I was in my pajamas. I didn't even brush my teeth. I never do that. I was working. I've been covering for a coworker all week. So I've been doing double duty. So that was stressful, but there was just this, sort of that feeling of impending doom. And I know, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And it just was lingering, and I haven't had that in a really long time. And it was all I could do to pick myself up out of my chair when I clocked out. And I just, in my mind's eye, I was going to brush my teeth and get in the shower, but I didn't. I flopped on my bed and I just sat there. I turned my music on. I knew to do that for me. It got me like, okay. I laid there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't get in the shower till probably 7:00 at night. And then all I did was put on clean pajamas and crawl in my bed. And I was just like, but I realized it. And instead of feeling bad for doing that or feeling that way or feeling guilty or feeling like, oh, you're weak, I just was present in the moment, because I'm learning from people like you. There's another gentleman on TikTok who I follow. His handle is a talk space, and he does nothing but these mental breaks sometimes. I was going to link you two up on TikTok because he's fantastic. Another Black male who's just calming and keeping it real. And his thing is every day, almost every day has a post, and he'll say, hey, are you up? Get up. Pull the covers back. I know you don't want to do it. Put 2 feet on the floor. Very simple stuff. And I can't tell you how many of us comment and we're like, okay, I need you to record that. And just like, I need to say that, because I make it a sound because I need it. And then in the end, after he's being like super, like, how do you say it? Like very soothing and professional. And then he goes, get your ass up. And I'm like, I love that.
I think I actually might follow him on.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I'm going to try to get him on too. And I would love to get both of you on together because I want to talk more about men's health in general and men's mental health. And I think coming from both of you, it's very, very powerful. Chris has another question here. And he's talking about like when you're in the moment of extreme anxiety, maybe an anxiety attack or a panic attack, right? You're in that moment. Is there simple practices or things that you can do in that moment to kind of snap yourself back?
Yes. That's one of the things that I do a lot of. The first one is it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. And that's one of the things, because when you're in that panic attack, only thing you really think about is that panic. And this is a grounding exercise that uses all your senses to come back to where you are.
A grounding exercise?
Grounding exercise. So what you do is you look around the room, because you think about that panic. It's like, shit, that's all I can think of. You get that tunnel vision, that weight and all that stuff. It's okay. Try to take a breath if you can, because right now you're hyperventilating.
Yeah.
So if you can't take a breath, do as best you can. But then look around the room, say 5 things out loud that you can see. You go through the 5 things, take a breath. Okay. Now say 4 things that you can touch. All right. Say those things out loud, take a breath. 3 things that you can hear. Say those things out loud, take a breath. 2 things that you can smell. Say those things out loud, take a breath. 1 thing that you can taste or that you like the taste of. Say that thing out loud and take a breath.
Wow.
That incorporates all of the senses and everything that you try to, bring all the stuff back.
So I imagine it kind of snaps you back into.
Yeah. And another thing is like, and this is probably my favorite one. It's called a clench and release technique. What you do is, because we have this tendency to hold on to things and not let them go.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that.
I feel like you're judging me right now.
No, never. Because if I'm judging you, I'm judging me, and I'm not trying to do that. All right, so the clench and release technique is like you make your hands into fists as tight as you possibly can. You're squeezing your hands as tight as you can, and once you start squeezing, right, you start to feel that pain in your hands, right?
Yeah.
This is the stuff that you're holding on to. This is all of the shit that's been bothering you, whether it be, I ain't brushed my teeth, I ain't washed my ass, I got all this shit at work. There's so much stuff that I got going on. It's pissing me off. What the fuck am I supposed to do all this stuff? Take a breath. And you're going to open your hands slowly and feel that blood just rush back into your hands.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, wow. I can let this stuff go. I don't have to hold on to that.
Oh, I'm going to do that every day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that every day.
So that's one of those things is like, I tell people to do that, like before they have an interview with somebody, before they get on the phone call, before they do this presentation, before they talk to somebody who pisses them off. Let all this stuff out so you're not responding with nervousness. You're not responding with anger. You're not responding with irritability. If you had a shit day at work and you go home and you don't want to take your work in the house with you, or you don't want to fuss at people because you've been pissed off, clench and release before you go inside.
Oh, that is such good advice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's not even anxiety attack, panic attack. I mean, that's
everything.
Great for that, but that's for everything.
Yeah, everything. Yep. That's for everything.
Wow. That's really incredible.
And that one's free of charge.
I know, right? I owe you $99.99. We got to wrap up because I've kept you way too long, but will you come back again?
I mean, I reckon I can. I guess I can do that.
How can people follow you or find you? Do you want people to follow you?
On TikTok and Instagram, I am Blaizo, Blaizo 909. And on Facebook, it's just Blaise Harris. I don't tweet.
I don't tweet either. I hate that thing.
I do. I was like, what the hell is this?
I can't.
I know. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it. So, okay. Well, I'm going to go find you on Facebook now and Instagram.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your personal story. I thank you for what you do. Not only, as a first responder, like I said, that's just a whole other level of respect, but also recognizing that the need, you very much did what I did when creating the Care Project is, that there's other therapists out there. You're not trying to replace them. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but what you're doing is you're filling in the gap.
Yep.
You're filling in the gap, which is the same thing I'm doing with the Care Project. So, like I said, you have to come back. So it just is what it is. So now we're friends. So
let me know.
I'm really not a crazy lady on TikTok stalking you. I am like you. I can feel people's energy. I know that there's good people out there and we don't all have an agenda, right?
Right.
We don't all have an agenda. I'm thinking this guy's going to think, well, I'm sliding in his DMs. Like, no, it's not about that.
No.
I just saw like, this is somebody I could laugh with, talk with, learn from, and support. And, so thank you for that. And
thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot.
Absolutely. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Take the rest of the day off. I got to go back to work.
I did.
All right, sir. You take care.
You too.
Thank you for listening to Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond. Please let us know what you think of the show by leaving a rating and review. And don't forget to share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with Carrie, go to thecareprojectinc.org.